Hey guys, welcome back to Entrepreneurs Galore, a podcast where we actually try to give you some business inspiration, some insightful stories, and some lesson learned in businesses for anybody that's willing to start a business or looking into it. Today, my guest, I have Ryden over here. Ryden, would you like to introduce yourself to the world?
Sure. So my name is Ryden. I am the founder of LaChispa Incubator, which means the Spark Incubator. And my passion is helping entrepreneurs start and grow businesses. So not only am I an entrepreneur myself, and I'm happy to share that whole story, but I'm also focused on helping others start businesses as well.
Nice, nice. So you're basically a CEO of a company that helps build other companies, essentially.
Yes, and as of this week, I'm in an exciting time because the incubator I founded 5 years ago, and I was CEO for 5 years. But
Hmm.
entrepreneurs, right? We have this after 5 years, we want to keep growing and leveling up and doing different businesses. So as of this
Right.
week, I'm no longer CEO. I've passed my baby onto this wonderful woman named Carolina, who I've been developing for the past 3 years, and I'm off to be the CEO of my next venture.
Nice, nice. Well, congratulations on that, and good luck on your
Thank
next
you.
venture as well.
Thank
So,
you.
I'm interested, right? So, I want you to pick as well, like which one would you like to actually talk about first, right? Like, would you like to talk about your future business venture, or like the past, like incubator, and all the lessons that you've kind of learned, and all the struggles and the difficulties that you've had to go through for like the past 5 years and being CEO and like managing employees? Which one would you like to talk about first?
Well, they're both really interconnected. So
Okay.
maybe the context of the past in order to explain the
Right.
future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, for
So
sure. Yeah, let's
yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess a little bit of context and storytelling so people understand where I'm coming from. When
Yeah.
I graduated college now, a really long time ago. I'm older than I look. um,
Okay.
I worked at a large investment firm for 6 years, Bridgewater Associates, which was wonderful in terms of, looking at macroeconomic insights, and I got to work alongside Ray Dalio. A lot of entrepreneurs know Ray
Wow.
Dalio's principles, so
Uh-huh.
incredibly thankful for those 6 years. But then at the end, I was like, you know what? I want to go and explore the world. I want to do something of my own. I think a lot of entrepreneurs also have this fire inside of them, but I
Right.
wasn't sure what. So I decided to do my own experiments. I ended up moving from the US to Kenya,
Oh.
and through these experiments, for example, I tried to make my own house and farm using products and services designed for the base of the pyramid. It did not go well, but through it not going well, I got to see some holes in the marketplace.
Okay.
And and some of those holes were the fact that a lot of these products that were designed for the base of the pyramid weren't designed by the base of the pyramid, and they were missing essential details. And that
Mhm.
enabled me to see we really need to support people who are closest to the problems to solve their own solutions. And I found an incubator there, got on their board, who was helping base of the pyramid entrepreneurs. I absolutely loved it. And then I wanted to also just create my own. I was like, this is the right next path for me. So I opened up my own version in Latin America, and that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years.
Nice, nice. So, are you still in the US right now at the moment?
No, I moved away from the US, I think like 7, 8 years ago now.
Oh,
And I'm
wow. So,
currently I'm currently in Mexico. This is
oh,
my
nice.
this is my home.
Nice. Okay. So, you move. So, did you go anywhere in the middle between like US, Kenya, and Mexico? Were you just traveling all over the world?
In the beginning, I was traveling all over the world, and
Uh-huh.
now living, it's been US, Kenya, and Mexico. But I'm a huge
Nice.
travel fan, so a few times a year I'll go on some adventure, get inspiration from how other cultures and countries are doing things.
Nice, nice. So, I guess talk to me about like your investment firm experience as well. Like what was that like? Like how many hours were you working? Was it on Wall Street as well? So, what was that like?
Yeah, at Bridgewater, it's an intense world. How many hours was I working? I don't know. Anywhere between 50 to 80, 90,
Oh my
90
God.
hours.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's for those of you who maybe don't yet know Bridgewater's culture, definitely check out Ray Dalio's principal management books because there you're able to think about thinking. You're able
Okay.
to learn the principles by which you're going to visualize your goal, get to your goal, no matter what the situation is, and ultimately design a life of your choosing.
Nice. Okay. So
Mhm.
how much do you think that Ray Dalio's thinking and his books like actually impacted you? And was he like coaching you one on one, or what was that experience like with him?
It, him and the other CIOs influenced me enormously because again, they're teaching us how do you go after any goal that you want? How
Mm-hmm.
do you design the people, the processes, ensuring that you're making good strategic thinking decisions, prioritization, execution, all of that. And because of that almost like content agnostic thinking processes, I was
Mm-hmm.
then able to start my incubator. Because many people they ask me, "Oh, is your incubator industry specific?" And I've always said no. And then their follow up question is often, "But don't you need expertise in a particular subject?" And my
Mm-hmm.
answer is no. You don't need expertise in a
Oh,
particular subject if
okay.
you have those general principles and knowing how to plug in the right people with the expertise that you need to have that team in order to achieve whatever goal you have.
Okay.
So
Okay. So you
I'm
were
insanely thankful for them.
no for sure. I mean, it seems like that I guess once you get the thought process down, you could really just do anything. Um
Yes.
so when you were mentoring the people and like just helping them through their incubator businesses, right? So what different types of industries did you actually get to work with?
hmm So really across so many everything from products, services, technology. The one requirement for all of them was they had to improve the lives of their customers without hurting the environment.
Okay.
But you can imagine that then spans across many different categories. Everything from home goods to art to women's health to poverty reduction to clean water. Really everything. We ended up
And
working with 700 entrepreneurs.
700, wow. Do
hmm
you have like a favorite business that you actually help incubate?
That's like asking to choose a favorite child. That's like
So you yeah.
I'll still give you an answer. I'll still give an answer. But
Okay. Okay.
it is a bit like asking to choose a favorite child. One of the businesses I'm most bullish on, most passionate about, is that we have an entrepreneur who has developed some intellectual property on using agave waste, so the waste from the plant that makes mezcal tequila, and converting it
Mhm.
to biodegradable boxes. Because right now in the world, there's a lot of different types of biodegradable boxes, but they're not
Mhm.
truly 100% biodegradable, and they still have layers that take years and years and years to decompose. But through his new formula, we can take a product that is a waste. Right
Mhm.
now, the farms produce tons and tons and tons of waste every day, the fiber, and they either have to burn it or bury it, which isn't good. So it's
Mhm.
taking their waste and converting it to a product that we very much use in society. Think about how many Amazon and DHL boxes are used each
Yeah.
day.
No, absolutely. And then
Mm-hmm.
obviously once that product hits the market, or I don't even know if it has already, I think that's it. Does it cost any more though, like than just regular boxes?
Right now it does
Okay.
because of scale. So
Ah, okay.
the plan is we're going through a process to get his intellectual property patented, and then
Hmm.
we'll sell that to a major manufacturer so they'll be able to produce it at a lower cost. Because yeah, the main input is waste.
Understood. Nice. Okay.
hmm
So speaking of scale, right? So obviously, I'm sure you had some employees in your incubator, right? Like, how many
Hmm.
employees did you end up having now, I guess?
Five, five
Five.
full-time,
Okay.
five full-time employees, and because we were an NGO, we also had a lot of volunteers. And the reason we were able to keep the team small was thanks to this technology we developed called chatbot. So we use a WhatsApp, an at-home in-house made WhatsApp chatbot
Uh
to
huh.
train entrepreneurs how to develop a business in 21 steps.
Oh wow. Okay. So what does that chatbot look like? Like, how, if I'm an entrepreneur and I get a part into the incubator, right? Like, what, I guess, like, what type of lessons and what type of tax executions can it actually do for us?
Yeah. So when people start thinking about wanting to become an entrepreneur, oftentimes that feeling is one of
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmness. Where do I begin? Do I really need to go get my MBA? I've seen all these books, I've read all these podcasts, but then what is the literal next step I need to take in order to start that business? So
Mm-hmm.
I've taken that complicated business development process and I've boiled it down into 21 super simple steps. Whether you are, yeah, you just repeat these over and over and over again.
Okay.
So the training is those 21 simple steps. And at the end of it, you have one product, one customer, and one product or service that you've sold. And I'm happy to go through those 21 steps if you'd like.
Sure, yeah, let's go through them because so just a quick background. Like, I have tried several things in terms of, like, trying to start my own business and everything. And the main problem for me has always been just sticking to it, right? Because I always
Mm,
feel like, okay, I want to, one of the businesses that I had the idea of starting was, like, pressure washing trash cans, right? I was like, okay, I really want to do this, but I also want to, like, build this podcast, for example, right? And it's like I
mm.
can never stick to one thing, and I always find myself just like scattered in like 10 different areas when I should just be focusing on one, right? So like I'm wondering if like one of those 21 steps have something like that for like people who kind of struggle with like just different projects at all the time. Like, they just have their mind firing on those. So what advice do you have for that?
So I actually have different advice for you in this case,
Okay.
which doesn't directly hit the 21 steps because
Okay.
what people like your superpower
Hmm.
is idea generation. I'm guessing
Okay.
just based on what you're saying, super
Hmm.
creative, lateral, you're always seeing opportunities. And so why not just enable you to do more of that superpower and pair you up with someone who's really good at operationalizing and executing.
Gotcha.
So so what I would recommend for if you, for example, you as an entrepreneur who entered my incubator and I could just see all of these wonderful idea generators, I'd say, great,
Hmm.
let's find you a partner, either to help you with all of them or one partner for each, and have them help you with that execution.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I
So
imagine it's really
basic.
painful for you to have to really go through all of the details of everyone, right? I'm guessing you don't really find it that fun and uh,
The details of like people, like the
know the
people that I'm
details of
interviewing.
your product, of your different
Oh,
projects.
bro. Oh my God. It is so difficult for me. Like, I will literally go and, like, I'll be like, yeah, like I could do this. Like, I'll like do like all the market research, right? Like, I'll be like, okay, well, this is how much, like, I'll just take like the pressure washing trash cans business, for example, right? Because that's like the
Hmm.
one that I most recently thought of. So I was like completely like looking into it, and I was like, okay, well, this is how much people charge in like New York and Texas and like all these different places. And I'm like, okay, what should be my offering, right? Like, is it just like door to door sales, or like how should I market it? I went in, I literally had like all the equipment in my Amazon cart as well. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm about to, just throw away like $300 worth and just invest it into equipment. And then I got busy with one thing, and then like literally I forgot about it for like 2 weeks. Right. And then I was like, oh, do I really want to like spend $300 on this now? So the research part for like any business that I try, or like that I want to do, is not necessarily hard for me. It's literally like
Hmm.
getting started on it. And the minute that I feel like I feel a little bit of pushback. It's always like, you know what? It's too difficult, so I'm not gonna do it. So that's literally like been my thought process ever since I was a kid, and I hate it. And it's not like, oh, I don't have like a work ethic. I have great work ethic, but it's always like if I don't see like a return right away, then I get super discouraged. So
Yeah, so one of the questions I ask myself and ask entrepreneurs is, what pieces do you want to change about yourself, and what pieces do
hmm
you want to accept about yourself?
okay,
Because a lot of times these superpowers have a flip side. An example, if you are extremely tall,
hmm
being tall is an asset on a basketball team. It is not an asset if you are a gymnast. So if
right,
you are really passionate about being a gymnast, then great. Figure out how to have height not be a detriment for you. But or just say, you know what, I'm really tall. I'm going to do things that I thrive because I'm tall. So in your case,
right,
how do you do things that enable you to thrive given that creativity and idea generation? And this is something that I learned from a Bridgewater principle is again just using sports analogies. If
hmm
you if you were to create a basketball team, you don't want to play every single role on the team. You don't want to be the
right,
player, the coach, the nutritionist, the person who's making the hot dogs in the stand. No, but
right,
you need to figure out, okay, who do I need on my team to make
uh-huh,
that full company work well? So yeah, there are people
okay,
who thrive operationalizing
hmm
ideas.
right,
They love it. They love taking a crazy idea and being like, okay, how do I make this idea happen? They absolutely love it. And I think you just need to
right.
find your yang to your yin, your yin to your yang.
For sure. So would you call yourself that you are like the operational officer of things? Would you say that you're that category of person?
I would say I'm a bridge.
Okay.
So I would say that I am not your superstar in new crazy idea generation out of the box, nor am I really great at being the person that then works for 10 hours a day. Like I really
hmm
like sleep and relax. What I'm really good at is managing. So taking those crazy ideas, designing that team in order to have that whole goal be achieved. More of like the guide. The coach
Understood.
in the coach in that basketball team
Yeah, yeah, you're
example.
the yeah, you're definitely the coach in the basketball team. You're
I'm the
telling
coach in the
everybody what
basketball
to do.
team.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, okay, well, now it's the operations guys to shine and now it's the IT persons to shine. So, yeah, you're definitely the coach in a basketball team.
I'm the
So,
coach of the basketball team.
yeah. So, let's go back to the 21 steps. So what are some 21 steps that you guys actually have and follow in the from the chatbot itself?
Yeah. So the 21 steps are broken into five phases. The first
Mhm.
phase is understanding what you are truly passionate about to your core. Why do you want
Okay.
to be an entrepreneur? It's the first question. What problem are you passionate about solving, and why are you passionate about solving that problem? Because if you're not ultimately connected to that your business, to that passion, then also no matter who you are, when times get tough, you're less likely to push through it.
Mhm.
So that's phase number one. Phase number two is then really understanding everything there is around that passion, your customers, your competition. One of my favorite, I think this is my favorite question in the 21 questions, which is, who is the person that has that problem you're passionate about solving?
Mhm.
And I make people give me a literal name of a person.
Mhm.
Because also something that happens in the entrepreneurship world is people have these business ideas and they take a lot of time designing the idea, maybe even going to create the application, but they don't actually have ever spoken to a real person with that real problem that they're going to then sell that thing to.
Right.
I don't know why. That one
They
always
they
blows my
don't
mind.
they don't know their customer avatar. That's one of the things that I learned in like this copywriting course that I took. It's like define your avatar, and like your avatar was somebody that's like oh, that's the person that's like, you are writing for this person, or you're building this product for this particular person, and you take it a step further, which I think it's great. You're just like, no, you need to find an actual person, and then that's what you need to do. Like, they need to be alive.
They need
So
to be alive, and you need to be able to speak to them. Because
yeah,
because
that's
at the yeah
no, go for it. No, go, continue. I'm sorry.
because at the end of these 21 steps, you're then selling to that real person. And if they
Hmm.
don't buy, then that says a lot. And you can go back to the drawing board and reiterate faster versus, again, spend months in this thing I call PowerPoint syndrome with these fake avatars that you're inventing. And then when time to sell, you're like, ah, who am I going to speak to? Do I really want it? Yeah, it's just
Uh-huh.
faster loops.
I think that that actually is a wonderful idea, like to have your customer already ready, and you're like, hey, this is the problem that you had, and this is the problem that I now solve, like please buy it from me. And you made a great point of like, if they say no to your product or your service, then it's like, well, you did all this for nothing, but it's probably because you did a shit job maybe, or your product isn't as appealing as it's supposed to be.
Right, right. And either way, you are learning really quickly, which enables you to have these quick pivot
Hmm.
iteration loops, which in time is money in the entrepreneurship space.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. But yes,
Hmm.
continue. So that was the third phase of like, the third phase was identifying that customer, giving you a literal name of that customer, right? So what's
Hmm.
next?
That was the second phase. So first phase
That was the
is
second, my
connecting with
bad.
your passion. Second phase
Uh-huh.
is understanding the market. So understanding your customer and understanding your competition. Because this is another thing that often happens, right? We come up with these creative ideas, but then we don't always say, okay, but how is my customer solving their problem now?
Hmm.
Am I really going to beat that solution that already exists, or does it already exist? And why not do something else? Phase number three is then, now that you have all the information, is brainstorming. So there's another few questions inside of that. Brainstorming, how can you better serve that customer given all the things that you now know about them and the competition? Then step four is designing. So taking your best idea and designing everything from your process by which you will create it, the customer experience by which they will understand and consume it, your brand, your finances, and then ultimately going to sell it. So selling it via an elevator pitch, and then also selling it to investors if you need to. We incorporate both because I do understand that finance is also important
Right.
to get financing for your business. So yeah, those,
Yeah,
and anyone can find those 21 steps. We make them public. They just have to go to www.lachispa incubadora.com/en for English.
for sure. No, I'll definitely make sure to put that in the description or the bio or wherever really, or maybe even in the comments. So uh yeah, no, I hope people can actually buy it, because I'm myself gonna check that out of the first 21 steps, because I think that's absolutely great. I think that that's something that I can use for myself, and if I ever have an idea, then I that is definitely gonna be like my little like pre-approval of like, okay, should I even pursue this idea? Is it even worth my time, or is it even actually worth anyone else's time? Because
Right,
in my experience, I'm like, okay, I'm passionate about a lot of things, but I'm just like, well, if it's not going to make me any money, then I probably should just spend my time elsewhere. But that's literally just my thought process. So I think this is definitely going to help me out a lot.
great, yeah. And these are the 21 questions now I'm now using again for myself as I go into this next stage. So I'm going through them at my own. And the cool thing about ChatBot, the WhatsApp bot, is that it's also at your own pace, at your own time. So you're not forced to some standard curriculum because every entrepreneur is at their own pace. So I'm now going through it at my own pace, at my own time, to determine what should I do next.
Nice. Okay. So I guess talk to me about that. Like, so what inspired you to go ahead and actually sell your little baby, which was LaChispa? So what inspired you to actually go ahead and kind of move on, and then now you're going ahead and starting another incubator? what's your plan? Like what inspired you to do that?
hmm So I don't know if I'm going to be starting another incubator.
Oh, my
That's
apologies then.
still yeah, no, all good. That's still TBD. Story of how of why I'm moving on. So I'm a big burner from Burning Man. I love it. I have my own camp. I've been going for I think like 10 years now. And last August I was there and I was just looking at the incredible creativity and innovation and magic that is flourishing there. For me, looking at the Burning Man art is one of these moments of wow, humans can accomplish incredible things.
I'm sorry.
And
What exactly is the Burning Man? I apologize for cutting you off, but I have no
no,
idea what the Burning Man is.
Burning Man is a desert community that pops up once a year in the end of August, and it is an event that's leave no trace. So it's a desert, and then
Hmm.
every about 70,000 people come to co-create this community for 1 week, and then they leave. And inside of that co-creation is a lot of art. It's a lot of gifting. It's a lot of expressing oneself. So there's
Nice. And
music
where?
and there's
Yeah,
everything you can imagine
yeah. Where does the Burning Man place take place every year?
in Nevada,
In
in
Nevada.
Nevada,
Okay.
United States.
Okay. Nice. Okay. But yeah. So continue. So you're a big part of the Burning Man community. So you go there every single year.
I go there almost every single year. I have missed two in the past 10, but yeah, almost every single year. And so I was just looking at this. I was just inspired by the grandiose nature of the innovation and creativity there. And I'm really thankful I spent 5 years in the nonprofit space, but the nonprofit space is it's limiting in some ways because we were dependent on donations.
Hmm.
And as I was looking at, yeah, just like the grandiose nature of what is possible to create when you have fuel, like when you have money. And I was like, you know what? I wanna create something now even bigger and do it in a for-profit way.
Uh huh.
So I think
Nice.
that was the spark of it. And then I began to convert LaChispa, the incubator, to be both nonprofit and for profit. But what I
Mhm.
quickly discovered is that the products and processes that were designed for the base of the pyramid and the nonprofit don't have great product market fit for a higher end market. So it's a
Mhm.
great experiment learned and going to now adjust in a new way.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that sounds great. I mean,
Thanks.
I hope that your next business venture, whatever it is, even if it's just an incubator, I hope it goes really well.
Thank
So
you.
I want to talk to you about the incubator itself, like La Chispa, right? So
hmm
obviously everybody is going to wonder of like, okay, well, there's a business incubator in which you help people grow businesses, right? How much money did the like La Chispa make from that, from like 5 years, from like beginning to end? Or like what was
Yeah.
like the annual revenue that you guys had?
Essentially zero because we were a
Really?
nonprofit and yeah,
Wow.
because we were a nonprofit and because I was focusing on base of the pyramid entrepreneurs. We were receiving donation money and
Mm-hmm.
funneling that directly into the entrepreneurs. Originally, when we started, the idea was for us to invest in these businesses that were coming out. We did take three investments of the 700 that came through.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in this particular context, the investments are not your high growth, high return, and it was
Huh.
better just to stay as a pure nonprofit.
Understood. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't your typical S&P 500 index fund that you could
No.
just, just do. You definitely needed to get your hands dirty with it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
And it was
So,
really good for me in my journey. I think this is another lesson for entrepreneurs I would love to share, which is
Mm-hmm.
We live a long life. Go through different phases and they play with the different flavors. So for me, it was really helpful to go from Bridgewater, which is a, enormous money making $150 billion under asset management, to the complete opposite demographic, and getting to see both flavors and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
play around for people.
No, definitely. That reminds me of the advice that Gary V always puts. I don't know if you have ever heard of him, Gary
Oh,
Vaynerchuk.
he's so
So
good. He's so good.
yeah, yeah, he really is. I mean, I remember, I think that is where my particular like entrepreneurship inspiration came from. Of like, yeah, like
Mm,
I can actually do something by myself, right? Like I don't need to work like a typical job, even though I obviously do. But he was like, dude, you can. He's always like, you can do it. You can effing do it. This and that and whatnot. And uh, he basically said the same thing along something along the lines that you say, in terms of like, dude, like you're young, just go out, do things, try things out. It might work, it might not work, but you'll get the feel of things, right?
yeah.
And I completely agree. I'm like, dude, like this is like, I think trying things out was like definitely like the best thing that I actually ever did for myself, because I think that's where I got a lot of my like professional growth in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, playing. One thing I'm really excited to play with more in this next phase. So I'm also a hypnotist.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah. So I went working with the entrepreneurs. I realized that you can teach someone a business model all day long, right? You can give them the literal business school tips. But if they also don't have that entrepreneurial mindset and the
Mhm.
mindset tools, then they're never going to implement that business. They're going to get stuck, and the inner critic voices come up, the imposter syndrome comes up. So I went back to
Uh-huh.
school, became a hypnotist, and I'm applying it to entrepreneurship. But I love it. I love it. And so I just want to play with hypnosis for entrepreneurs in a new way. Today I was just
Nice.
playing a little bit with the idea of putting it into music. I don't know. I just want to
Uh-huh.
play. I'm
Okay.
ready to play.
So talk to me about hypnotism, right? Because I have always thought that like hypnotism was fake. I've always
Mm,
like seen those like shows and stuff, right? Like and like clips of them, and I've just been like, okay, well, it's more than likely staged, right? Or like even when they show it on like movies or TV shows, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like, and you're saying that you actually went to school for hypnotism, so talk to me about that. Like, where do I apply? And what do I do to get in? Like, what are the qualifications?
so a little bit of context on what actually is hypnosis, because yeah,
Yes, please.
people mostly do just see magician hypnosis, which is which often is real, and how it works is people enter into this dream state. They get extremely relaxed and they feel like they are in a dream. So when you're getting somebody to cluck like a chicken or pretend that they are a rock star, it's because they're in a dream state and they're
Okay.
using their imagination to really feel like they are that. But that's an extreme version.
Okay.
Hypnosis, all it is, it's entering into a focused state where your subconscious becomes a sponge. And when it becomes a sponge, we can then reprogram it. So listening to music, driving, yoga, all of these, watching a movie, these all
Mm-hmm.
put your brain into the hypnotic state.
Okay.
So yeah, everyone gets hypnotized all day long. You just enter in and out of
Okay.
it. And it's very also similar to guided meditations. A lot of guided meditations
Mm,
are actually hypnosis.
interesting.
So,
Okay.
hmm
So, how
yeah.
long do you need to study to actually become a hypnotist?
I studied for 6 months.
For
I studied for
6 months.
6 months.
Okay.
Hmm
Nice. Okay. And like, is there a particular school that like people like hypnotists actually go to, or like, is it like a worldwide community?
There are different schools. The one I
Mm-hmm.
went to is from, her name is Shana. It's called the Divine Feminine School of Hypnosis. You do not have to identify as being feminine or female.
Right.
you just the reason why she does the divine feminine is because it takes the approach of holding space for the other person to really hypnotize themselves versus
Hmm.
a more masculine energy approach, which is I'm going to help you, you know, I'm going to guide you in a
Gotcha.
more forceful way, not in a bad way, but in a
Understood.
more
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I
mhm.
understand what you're saying. Yeah.
But
Okay.
there are a lot of wonderful schools out there, and it's fun. And I'm even if you don't want to become a hypnotist for professional reasons,
Hmm.
it is an incredible tool to learn because then you can also really hypnotize yourself and rewire old limiting beliefs away, access the power of your subconscious mind.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
So what are like have you hypnotized yourself yet?
a lot. I do that. I almost hypnotize myself almost every day.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Okay.
almost every.
So I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh no, go.
No, so what are some of like the lessons that you've actually learned from like hypnotizing yourself or even from anyone else?
The power of your imagination and how much using the power of your imagination you can create the world you want to create. And I'll get a bit more specific. So
Yeah.
something that often happens with entrepreneurs is they have to pitch for investment money, right?
Mhm.
A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people in general have this fear of public speaking, have a or get really nervous before they're about to share their idea or present. That's just based on old thought patterns. And what you
Mhm.
can do for hypnosis is you can use the power of your imagination to imagine being really confident when public speaking. Imagine that pitch to your investors going really, really well. And then that trains your brain. So when you show up, you actually just feel confident. You feel open. You feel calm. You feel however you want to feel in that situation.
Mhm. Okay. So like are positive affirmations like a part of hypnotism as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if somebody like I guess a form of hypnotism is also like, you know, whenever you look in the mirror and your initial thought is always like, "Oh, I look like crap," but you keep on telling yourself that you look good, then you'll eventually start to believe it. So that's a little bit of like hypnotizing yourself, I'm guessing.
Yes. Yes. And sometimes people will then say, but if I don't look good, if I don't feel like I look good, then I'm just
Mhm.
lying to myself, and then they stop the affirmations.
Right.
So this is a bit advanced training for you all. But the
Mhm.
trick with hypnosis is that you can't lie to yourself.
Okay.
So you can do one of two things in the situation. Either one, you can just close your eyes and you can imagine a future state where you feel like you do actually look really good. So that's
Mhm.
number one. And then you're going to have inspired actions to bring you closer and closer and closer to that because now you believe it's possible. So you'll have different life decisions, etc. But number two is that you can use a sentence that pushes you closer to where you want to go without lying to yourself. So maybe in the mirror, instead of saying, I look good, what if you don't believe it? You can say, today I am setting the intention of doing things that make me feel healthier.
Okay.
Or I am excited to practice a new habit today. I'm excited to be inspired to have new clothes. Like whatever feels good for you to say that brings you closer to where you want to go.
Understood. Okay. I'm
Hmm.
definitely gonna try it out. I might just Google like hypnosis or maybe I'll just like contact you and say like, hey, like can we hop on a call and then you can probably hypnotize me
Yeah,
here and there or I guess guide me to hypnotize myself. Um but yeah, for sure.
yeah.
It sounds like a
I'll give
Mhm. Go ahead.
I'll give you another fun hypnosis secret, especially because today as we're shooting this, it's May 4th, so Star Wars
Hmm.
themed. May
Yeah,
the 4th be with you.
may the fourth be with you. Yeah.
So the word try. Hypnotists and Yoda both understand this concept that our subconscious interprets the word try to mean a
Mhm.
high risk of failure, high chance of failure.
Okay.
So, for example, if I were to say to you, I tried to do well on my math test, do you think
Mm-hmm.
I did well or didn't do well?
You didn't do well.
Right, exactly. So when we use the word try, our subconscious says, oh, I'm gonna probably fail at that thing. And if we believe that we are probably gonna fail at that thing, we're not gonna spend as much energy in helping to make sure that that works out because
Mm-hmm.
we're really smart. Why would we put in our time and effort in something that is probably going to fail? We
Right.
don't. So just
Exactly.
by changing that word try, taking it out,
Mm-hmm.
you'll notice that you increase your chances of success. And hypnotists know this well because when you're in that dream state, in that trance state, we can use it to mean don't do something. So if I were to say to you when you're in a deep relaxation, try to open your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. Like you'll like try to you'll literally try to open them, but you won't. And then it
Uh-huh.
makes people be like, "Wow, I can't open my eyes." But what we
Uh-huh.
really just said to you is don't open them. That's how
Interesting.
powerful
Okay.
that word try is. Yeah, and Yoda said, "Do or do not. There is no try."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what exactly what I was just gonna bring up. That it's wild. I mean, like you said, we're recording this on May 4th, and Yoda did say that it's like you either do or you don't, and there's no try.
Yeah.
Um, so what? So I guess if we don't use like the word like, "Hey, I'm gonna try to get to this," like you just say something like, "Oh, I'll get you this report today by today," right? You just don't use try anymore. You just eradicate that from your dictionary, huh?
Yes. One, options. One, you can use try intentionally to mean actually there is a pretty high chance of failure. Two, you can just remove it. So instead, yeah, just as you said, instead of saying I'm going to try to send you this report today, you can say I'm going to send you this report today. But you can also use words if you don't actually believe that you will send that report today,
Mm-hmm.
then don't promise sending the report today. Yeah.
Okay. So just tell the truth. Just say, I'll get it to you by tomorrow, or whatever the case might be.
Exactly. Or I'll get it to you when I can. Who knows? I'll do my
Yeah,
best
for
to do it
sure.
today. It probably won't happen. I'll get it to you when I
Uh
get
huh.
it to you. No?
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
what about, so is there a difference for like hypnotists from saying like, I'm going to try to do this or I'll do my best? Like, is there a difference between those two phrases or do you guys kind of like group them all together?
That's a good question. I'll do my best has I think more different meanings to different people.
Mm-hmm.
So I would, as a hypnotist, I would stay away from using that one unless I was hearing my client use that one a lot. Then I would
Mm-hmm.
use it in the way in which that they interpret it.
Understood. Okay.
Um, in this podcast, maybe you'll notice when you re-listen to it, but I tend
Uh-huh.
to instead of use the word try, I use the word play because it's a very specific word. It makes sense for me. So instead of saying, "Oh, I'm going to try out this new hobby," I'll be like, "I'm going to play with this idea." Or because for me, it activates my curiosity mind, my desire to experiment. Yes, there's still a high risk of failure, but it won't feel like a failure. It'll feel like play. So that's how I use
Interesting.
it. But people should use the word that makes them feel the best.
Understood. Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna like rewatch this podcast when I'm editing it. So I'm definitely gonna probably catch that now. So for the people that are watching at home, like, is there a way or like an easy way to just go ahead and hypnotize yourself?
Yes. So daydreaming. Daydreaming is self-hypnosis. It's amazing. It's so easy. And who doesn't love to daydream? And the way in which you daydream, the easiest way is just imagine a future state of something going really well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It could be as simple as, you know what, I'm going to imagine doing really well in one of my meetings today, or something as big as imagining what their dream life is going to be like in 5 years. And that's putting in the neural pathways and setting
Mhm.
you up for success for then having your actions be aligned with that thing going really well.
Interesting. Okay. So
Yeah, it's the
would the
easiest.
would this okay, so would the same thing work if you're just like daydreaming about negative things that will happen to you in the future?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's why like so many like pessimistic people like they always see like bad things happening to them, right? Because they're just always constantly thinking like that.
Yeah, and an analogy that I came up with that I believe describes this well is imagine getting into an Uber, and in the destination field, you just kept typing everywhere you didn't want to go. I don't want to go to
Okay.
the airport. I don't want to go to the mall. I don't want to go here. I don't want to go there. The Uber isn't like, okay, well, you just typed it into the destination. I guess I'm going to go there. I also don't know where to take you. And so
Hmm.
daydreaming negative is essentially typing into your Uber the destination where you don't want to go
Interesting.
versus
Okay. No.
typing into where you do want to go.
Right. Yeah. So you should always keep in mind where you actually what your destination actually should be and not where you don't want to go in the first place. Okay. That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense. You have some really great analogies. Yeah.
thank you. And we're human. So we are going to think about our problems. We're going to think about things that we don't want. And that's also totally okay. I just have my tip is that I have a rule of thumb is spend 6 times longer thinking about what you do want than what
Hmm.
you don't want.
6 times longer. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty random, but just more times longer than
Right.
the other.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that actually also gets into like the principle of like have you ever heard of the term neural plasticity?
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, tell the audience like what neuroplasticity is like so and how that actually connects to hypnosis because I'm guessing it really does, right?
Yeah, so I want to hedge what I'm about to say that I'm not a doctor nor a psychologist and or nor a scientist. So someone
Neither
listening
am
to
I.
this should probably yeah, you should probably chat GPT what is neuroplasticity. But the way in which I interpret it is one's ability to implement
Hmm.
the neural networks in their own brain, the neural pathways to essentially design the life that they want, to be able to think what they truly want, believe what they truly want.
Hmm. Yeah, no,
Almost like
that's pretty.
recoding our brains,
Yeah,
debugging it, and
yeah, I think that's like the best way to put it of like recoding your brain. Uh, I remember when I looked into it, for example, like I used to be a very negative person when I was a kid, right? So I got called out on it once by one of my friends. And ever since then, I was like, wait, I really do think very negatively. Maybe I should stop. So randomly I came across this term called neuroplasticity, right? So what I remember very vividly when I looked at it, I was like, oh, I really need to do this. And it kind of goes back into the things that you were saying as well. So neuroplasticity, when I learned it, it was basically like um, if you keep on doing something again and again, it becomes habit, right? So the reason why it's so easy for you to like recall, like for example, like 2 plus 2, you automatically know that it's 4, right? But if I ask you the question of like, okay, well, what's 32 times 64? You'll probably have to like think about it and you need to go through that process and then you'll finally figure out the answer, right? But 2 plus 2 equals 4 is very easy because you've already built this like neural network of connection and you already know like okay 2 plus 2 is 4, right? It's the same thing
right.
of like when you think that things are not going to work out for you, it's the same thing because you've always thought that way, so like your brain has made it a habit to just think negatively about yourself, your future, regardless whatever it is, right? To
Mm-hmm.
break that, you obviously need to do the opposite, which, like you were saying, you need to, repeat something positive 6 times more than if you do something negative, right? So if you say, oh, things just don't work out for me once, then you say, like, oh, things are working out for me, or things will work out for me like 6 times more than that. And the
Exactly.
more you do something, the more like this neural bridge or like this neural network gets super strong of like your positive thinking. And like the more you positively think, obviously, since you're not negatively thinking anymore, your brain is very efficient. So it's just gonna make that bridge into negative thinking very weak, or maybe just even destroy it altogether. So
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer in like positive thinking and like affirmations and things of that nature because I personally like that's changed my life. So yeah.
That is a wonderful example, and that's an example of you hypnotizing yourself,
Right.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
You've gone, you
I, I definitely just hypnotized myself at like the age of 13 or 14 without even knowing. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, 100%. And that's that very much fits into the same idea of presenting, which entrepreneurs have to do a lot, right? Pitching. We have an old version that has this habit of, oh, I'm going to be nervous because I'm presenting, because I saw that in so many Shark Tanks and YouTube
Right.
videos, whatever. But instead, we can develop the neural pathways that says when I walk into that room with investors, I feel calm, I feel confident, and it just happens. It's habit. Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. Go
And
ahead.
the really cool thing about hypnosis is that our imaginations, our emotions don't really know the difference between what is imaginary and what is real. So we
Hmm.
don't actually have to have real reps in real life to develop those neural pathways, because we can use the power of imagination to do so. And if I can have 2 minutes, I can do a fun mini exercise for you in the
Go
audience.
for it. Go for it.
Yeah, ready to see the power of your imagination. So
Yeah.
if you're driving, don't shut your eyes. But for everyone else, close your eyes.
Okay.
Take a deep breath in through your nose. Sigh out of your mouth. Relax, just begin to shake things off. Great. So now, using the power of your imagination, imagine yourself in your kitchen.
Okay.
Open the refrigerator door.
Okay.
Feel the wave of cold air hitting against your skin.
Okay.
Now grab a lemon that is sitting on one of your refrigerator shelves.
Okay.
Feel the texture, see the color. Now take a knife and cut into that lemon. Start smelling the lemon if you can. And now take that lemon and put it in your mouth. So for the majority of you, you just tasted that lemon and your mouth was probably starting to salivate, and you just got this like ugh taste. No, doesn't work for everyone. Different people are in different speeds, but the majority of people will have their mouth would have salivated and they would have been like, wow. Um,
My
and there's no
my
lemon.
my mouth definitely did salivate, but like I actually like lemon, so I'm just like I'm probably gonna have some lemon afterwards. So no, I definitely like thought about it. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, like you think about something so much, and then you eventually you're like, I like whenever you get like really
I want
thirsty,
it.
like you could, it's like yeah, you just you're like, oh, I can like taste the water in my mouth, right?
Right. Right.
That's
Yeah, so your body, most people's bodies don't know the difference between what is imagination, and what is real. Something as animalistic and primal as our salivation glands
mm-hmm.
will believe that there is a real lemon because we're imagining a real lemon, which we're not. So you can use this hack to imagine using daydreaming whatever situation you want to become true to rewire your neural pathways.
Nice. Okay. For sure. No, I'm definitely
Yeah,
gonna
pretty
try this
cool.
out. But yeah. So what going back to one of your analogies, right? So I know one of the things that you had mentioned is like which you kind of remind me of what Alex Hermosi actually had said. Your analogy of like, you know, the tall person, like you're probably great at basketball, right? Like you're an asset in on the basketball court, but like in gymnastics you're a liability, right? And I you obviously make great analogies and made me think of one of the analogies that Alex Hermosi actually said as well. He said, and this is actually a true story as well. So this one violin player, um he used to perform on like the top operas of the world, right? And one day he took his like 1.5 million violin and he just went on the subway in like New York, right? And he just started playing it. And this guy is world renowned, right? He's like playing at like the most expensive operas, and he goes to a subway and he starts playing it, and literally nobody's paying attention to him. Like he has a $1.5 million violin, and nobody's paying attention to him. Everybody's just minding their business, and they're just going about their day. And he played for like a good, like, I think a few hours, honestly. Like he probably played for like 4 or 5 hours, and literally nobody came up to him. Nobody said like, "Hey, are you this guy?" Or like nobody like appreciated his talent, right? And it was kind of like the same message of like, it depends on like where you are as well. If you're a 6 foot, if you're a 7 footer in a basketball court, then that's great. But if you're a 7 footer in a gymnast gym, then you're probably terrible at it, right? So you need to go where you're also appreciated as well. And I think that that kind of should go ahead, and that should be a lesson for like entrepreneurs everywhere as well. It's like you were saying in the beginning, for me as well. I I have idea generation, right? Like I'm really good at generating ideas. So me just being somewhere where I can't generate ideas, instead I need to focus on one particular task, like I'm probably not going to be appreciated over there, and I'm not going to be able to maximize my skills.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. And
you want to be creative as an entrepreneur. You do not want a creative accountant, right? That's a
yeah,
recipe for disaster. You want an accountant that is extremely reliable and diligent and organized and yeah, yeah, knowing yourself, what you're genuinely like, and then shaping the context by which you thrive in, really important.
for sure. So we're about to hit like the 1 hour mark, right? And obviously I don't want to keep you that long. But what would you say is like the most important piece of advice that you can give to entrepreneurs?
Have fun.
Have fun.
Have fun. Life is so short. Life is so short. No one cares about your failures. No one cares about you being cringeworthy. Just go and have fun. Really enjoy the process and use entrepreneurship as your ability to create. So yeah, have fun.
Okay.
Don't take it so
Okay.
seriously. That's my advice.
Okay. Don't take life so seriously. Have fun, of
Don't take
course.
life so seriously. Yeah.
And are they put your tell people about where they can actually find you, and take some hypnosis classes from you, I guess, as well.
Yeah. So you can find me best on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube at Ryden into the Galaxy. That's my username. DM me and we can do one-on-one hypnosis sessions. If you're looking to start a business, then message me about that as well. So I look forward to meeting many of you.
Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, Ryden. Guys, I really hope that you enjoyed it. Ryden, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
I definitely learned a lot. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna look a little bit more into hypnosis, and I'll probably be in touch with you for running off some business ideas, and from you and your chatbot actually. So yeah.
Great. And if you want to do a hypnosis live on TikTok, I'd be happy to hypnotize you live on TikTok.
For sure. Yeah, no, I'll definitely try to schedule something around. So yeah, it's been fun. Thank you so much for your time, Ryden. I really hope that you enjoyed coming on. I loved
I
having you
did.
on, so thank you so much for your time.
It was a pleasure. I'm so grateful for entrepreneurship communities because then we can all learn from each other and yeah, paying it forward. So thank you.
For sure. Awesome. Thank you so much.